Hi, my name is Amelia and I'm 22. Have you ever suspected someone of lying and wanted to expose them? Watch the rest of this video and find out how I spied on the nanny through a hidden camera and what I saw on the recording. 2 years ago, I gave birth to a son, Nick, from my husband, Kyle. He is 23, we have been living together for 3 years, and Kyle is almost the same as our baby, just as helpless. All day long, he sits at home at the computer and writes his programs. He does not know how to cook or take care of his son. He wears the same t-shirts for weeks, sometimes forgets to wash and brush his teeth. From his appearance, you would think that he's a homeless person and not a leading programmer in a large IT company. I took care of my son and my husband. It was exhausting. And then my boss gently hinted that it would be better for me to get out of my degree to work and prepare a financial report for the whole year. My head was spinning. I didn't want to leave my boys at home alone, but I was also afraid of losing my job. And I had to get back to the office a little earlier. At first, when I came home from work, my hair stood on end. The apartment was in complete chaos. My son was all in pain, hungry and crying. My husband was sitting at the computer and did not see what was happening under his nose. I didn't have the energy left for them, so on the advice of a friend, I hired a nanny. Debbie, she was 18. Have you ever used a nanny or carer? At first, I was worried that a stranger would be in the house. How would she take care of my son? Because she was so young. But after the first week of her work, I calmed down. Nick was smiling, clean, and well-fed. And Kyle even started to look neat. Perhaps he was ashamed of wearing a dirty t-shirt in front of a guest. I let out a little breath and went back to work, but over time, I started noticing strange things. A month later, my son began to meet me with tears. I asked Debbie what was wrong. She said he was just teething. I wanted to believe her, but I had my doubts. It seemed that Nanny wasn't always honest with me. My husband also started behaving strangely. He not only combed his hair every morning, but also shaved, which he never did, even for me. I came home once to find that our entire bed in the bedroom was crumpled and strewn across the bed, even though I had made it up before I left. And that night, when I wanted romance and love, Kyle was colder than ever. He said he was tired and fell asleep with his back to me. I was offended. I kept thinking that Kyle was ignoring me for a reason. Maybe he had a crush on the nanny and was having an affair with her, and he was not interested in me anymore. I was wondering how I could figure out what was going on while I was at work. I went to Debbie's social media profile page to see if she had a boyfriend, and I saw a bunch of photos with guys much older. My husband was exactly her type. I was beginning to worry that Debbie was hitting on Kyle in my absence. I shared my suspicions with a friend, and she advised me to put cameras in the house to understand what was happening behind my back. I never cheated on my husband. We shared everything. I decided to tell him about the cameras and see how he reacted. If Kyle supported me, then he had nothing to hide, and I had made up my mind. But my husband's reaction alarmed me. When he heard about the cameras in the bedroom and living room, he was categorically against it, saying that it was a violation of the right to privacy. Why did he want to protect the rights of the nanny? He definitely had something to hide. I didn't expect such a reaction from my husband and began to fear that he was cheating on me with Debbie. I couldn't ask directly, but I might have been wrong. And I had no choice but to set up a hidden camera without Kyle's knowledge. Look where I ended up. But I didn't want to be deceived. I had to. After I put the camera up while my husband was sleeping, I went to work and was restless all day. I was afraid Kyle would find that camera and make a scene. Then I started to worry that if I was right and Kyle was cheating on me, Then now he was tumbling with Debbie in our bed in front of our son. I couldn't wait for tonight to come home and watch this recording. When I got home from work, a worried Debbie stopped me in the living room and told me she had something to tell me. She had a guilty shock. A conscience must be a terrible thing. She was sitting with my son and sleeping with my husband. I would feel really guilty too. I couldn't wait to watch the tape, so I asked Debbie to postpone the conversation. I wanted to expose her and Kyle, to throw them out in disgrace. Have you ever suspected your boyfriend or husband of cheating? I rushed into the bedroom, got my camera from the closet, closed it, and started looking. And what I saw made me angry. In the video, Kyle entered the room in a bathrobe, turned on the music, and slowly began to take off his robe. Under it, he was completely naked, and then he dropped the robe on the dresser and covered the camera lens. I couldn't see anything further, but I could hear it perfectly. A girl appeared in the bedroom and began to compliment Kyle. Then they plopped down on the bed, she started laughing and then loudly and quickly breathing, and then it all ended with her moans. Everything became clear to me. Kyle and Debbie had a great time together while I was working. I was ready to kill them. I gave birth to Kyle's son, took care of both of them, and he traded me for this girl. Traitor. I wish there had been an image. I would have shown them their home video to see their reaction. It wasn't the first time Debbie had done this. Who knows whose husband she seduced before? The nanny should have been put in her place. But I didn't have any real proof that it was Debbie's voice. Then I decided to catch them red-handed, catch them at the most inopportune moment, to throw them both out. The next day, I left work early so that I could get home for dinner, when I was definitely not expected. I entered the house and was startled. A tearful Debbie sat in the living room with Nick, playing a game of Meccano. The baby was fine. I asked Debbie what happened, and then she burst into tears and said she couldn't hide it from me anymore. I told Debbie coldly and sternly that I knew, that I didn't need her to tell me everything, and asked where Kyle was. Debbie's mouth dropped open and she pointed to the bedroom. I wish I could have found them there together. But now I had Debbie's confession, which was enough to break up this circus to hell. I walked into the bedroom with a triumphant air and just froze. My Kyle was lying on the bed completely naked, and next to him was my laptop, from which came the same female voice I'd heard on the recording. I looked at the monitor. There was a naked girl who saw me and immediately turned everything off. Kyle jumped in surprise and started dressing abruptly. I was furious. I grabbed my laptop and threw it with all my might. Kyle was confused and said that I shouldn't be so nervous and frighten our son. I had to restrain myself from leaping at him and scratching his face, but for our son's sake, I decided to calm down and listen to my husband. Kyle admitted to having an affair. He met a girl on the internet a couple of months ago and fell in love. This had not happened to him for a long time. He wanted to tell me about it, but did not have time. He knew that he was guilty, but he couldn't help it. I didn't like to hear it. I got up and calmly told him that tomorrow he would not be here. Kyle immediately rushed to collect his things. He didn't even try to change my mind. I was sorry I was wrong about him and my nanny. I left the bedroom, and Debbie ran up to me with a sympathetic look and told me that we were a very good couple and it was painful for her to watch my husband cheat on me. She cursed herself for not saying it as soon as she noticed it. She was a good girl. What would I do without her? When Kyle went to live with his mistress, I was left alone with Nick, and Debbie started spending even more time with us, and we even became friends. She took care of my son like a little brother. I did not regret hiring her. I trusted her. At that time, I had made a big mistake and had trusted the wrong person. But one way or another, I got rid of the toxic person and attracted a new, bright person into my life. If you like my story, please like and subscribe to my channel. Have a good day. Let only honest and decent people surround you.